Hello and welcome along to the Panto podcast. This week my guest is Scottish character actor and dame Alex Robertson. He tells me about the transition from pit to performing on stage, his friendship with a previous guest, and how he behaved as a child when he used to attend pantomimes. So please sit back and enjoy the latest Panto podcast. My guest for today's Panto podcast is comedian, musician and dame, shall we say, Alex Robertson. How are you doing?
Well, I'm fine. How are you this fine day?
It's a nice day up in lovely Glasgow here, and it's a pleasure to meet you. And we've been chatting away for a good hour or so previously. We should have recorded it all.
We should have recorded it, yeah, because now I'm going to be boring.
Not at all. Don't believe a word of it. So, what actually got you started then with the world of acting?
Well, the world of acting, I was in primary school, primary 5. I don't know what you say in England for primary 5, because it's all different now. My teacher, and I need to mention him, he was amazing. His name was Mr. Lister. What a name, the tongue twister, Mr. Lister. That rhymes. I'm a poet, I didn't know it. He was amazing, and we done a bit of improv in the class, and my mum and dad went to parents' night, and he said he made the class laugh so much, and I really think he's got a future in acting. My goodness, eh? He was thinking a lot there, and so at that point I was there was a new theatre company starting then, and it was called Pace Theatre Company in Paisley. It was just starting, and I was one of 12 kids who joined, and I was the shyest boy in school. I would walk around school with the janitor, at interval picking up litter, because I wouldn't mingle, I wouldn't mix. And when I walked in there, as shy as I was, the director of the company saw something and then basically gave me one line and built it up, and then that's what started it all. Was my school teacher, Mr. Lister.
Mr. Lister.
I know. Yeah, he's still alive. Yeah, I'm not that old. Just so you looked at me there.
And what kind of things then were you performing?
Well, we then obviously the youth theatre were doing a lot of different things. We're trying to get people, from Denmark, and they came over, and we done a show, mixed shows and things like that. But we also done presentations for the parents and just small productions, which then got bigger and bigger. With the theatre company, and I grew up my whole life through this theatre company, and in fact I'm like a founding member of the theatre company, so I now get invited to everything, which is lovely.
Oh, right. It really is nice, isn't
which 30 odd years later, really nice. But I was also doing, as we're going to talk about, pantomime. They always did their annual professional pantomime in Paisley Arts Centre. So I started off being just one of the kids, one of the young kids who sang at the start of the show, then went away to a workshop for the whole entire show, and then sang at the finale. And then they would give you a part, and I became the herald, and the small parts, and I just built up. And as I say, that theatre company's still going strong. As I say, I'm giving them a mention. Pace Theatre Company.
I'm sure they'll appreciate that as well.
Well, I hope you don't edit it.
No, not at all. So what got you then tinkling the ivories?
All right, well, when I was a kid, my aunt gave me an accordion to play.
What a thing to start off with.
I know, and I was like, anyone else gets a recorder, but I ended up with an accordion. And I was asked by the local church to play for a concert, which I did. I think it was Daisy I was to play. And there's a hole in my bucket. And that really started me playing music. And then I learnt music through school. I went to a teacher who taught me to, read music. And when I was 15, I took ill, and I ended up with brain surgery. And when I got the brain surgery and I woke up, I couldn't read music again. But then the funny thing is, I could go on a keyboard and play something, just make it up. So later on in the same theatre company I spoke about earlier, the older I got, they asked me to work there as a musician and to tour schools, and we were teaching kids against bullying and racism, which I still think should be getting done just now, in schools. But I never ever had a bit of music in front of me to read. It was always, I believe, as an actor, I was acting through the keyboard. So everything I was playing was my emotions and my feelings. So it was a long answer, but I got there. But that's really what happened. And started me off playing music. And then they asked me to do the professional pantomime in Paisley, play the music for 10 years, which I really enjoyed.
Was it frustrating then being in the pits?
To be honest, I before all that as well, I was writing jokes for the show. I would see something in the show and I would be sitting, scribbling a couple of jokes out and going to the director, "Well, try these," and he would come back saying, he said, "That actually does work," So I was doing two things at the one time, but playing the music, it was frustrating because you just want to use your passion of being on that stage to be on it, and it just wasn't. It was quite, it was frustrating. I just can't answer normally, can I? I just can't say yes or no.
That transition that you made from pit to performing, how did that come about?
Well, I always performed, no matter what. I was always performing. I was doing TV, stuff, Rhapsody Nesbitt, Still Game. I actually did a bit in Crime Watch, but we'll not talk about that. I was a wee extra years ago. No, but the other parts, I've always acted, but I had to have something to keep me going, so I always played music as well. I was basically doing all this music for Panto, and I already had met a good friend, or became a good friend, Eric Potts, who you've already had on the podcast, but he was a great help, and he contacted me one day, the day after my birthday, and the night before you go out for a few sherries, you see, and the next morning I woke up to a text, which I thought was, what is this? What is this text? And so it's Eric Potts, and I'd like you to play the Baron in the King's Theatre, Glasgow. And that is, to me, I thought this is a wind-up. This is the biggest wind-up ever. And he said, no, do you want the contract? And I went, yeah, that'd be great, thinking it is a wind-up. And a couple of weeks later, I woke up and there was a contract through the door. And that took me back to pantomime, from doing it before as a kid, doing it in my teens, and then doing it back as a grown adult. So I've got a lot to thank Eric Potts for that, for putting me in that theatre. And the King's Theatre in Glasgow is just being there. I've been part of a pantomime in there where all my heroes have walked, Ricky Fulton, Jimmy Logan, Stanley Baxter, they've all been there and performing. For me to be on the same stage they were on, that just, it was too much to take in, to be honest.
Was it quite emotional then, walking out that first time?
Do you know, it was really quite, it was something. I would sit in the audience during the tech week and look at the stage going, I'm actually up there in a minute. I said, I'm not in the audience. I should be on that stage in 2 minutes. I said, but I was just trying to take it in. It was a very emotional time, yeah. And I just, sad to say, but I'd lost my mum, quite a few years before that. My mum died when she was 56. She had lupus, so we ended up, every time I'd go on that stage and come down, she never saw me doing the Kings, which I'd love her to have seen. But every time you'd come down and take your bow, I'd always look up and, go, she's somewhere there.
Oh.
I know, I'm a big emotional wreck. What am I like?
You're quite young, though, to be playing Baron.
Well, that was the thing. Eric he'd asked me, and I was 37, and I thought, that's an old man. And I'd saw other people play Baron, and they would come on, and they would be like, they come on stage and go, "Oh, my daughter," speaking like this all the time, and get a wee limp, but no, Eric just he came up for the read through with it, and he was very nervous sitting there reading in front of the man who wrote this, and he came up and he said, "You done it exactly how I thought you would do it," which again was another boost. Just he expected me to play it, not that other kind of way. It was more right Glasgow sort of dad worrying about the two ugly sisters beating them up, basically.
Just a standard night out.
Yeah, a night out. Yeah, of course it is. Oh dear. No, but I do. He'll hate me saying this, but I do have a lot to thank Eric Potts for, and what a name to actually thank someone like him. I also have, years ago as a kid, the man who wrote, directed, and played Dame for the Pace Theatre Company, Pantos. He taught me everything about comedy, and even made me watch Morecambe & Wise, which I ended up falling in love with. And I also loved Francie and Josie, who were Ricky Fulton and Jack Mulroy, fantastic. But that man, David Wallace, his name was, he was the resident Dame in Paisley. He just, one of the most funniest men I ever met. And yeah, I take a lot, and I'd like to thank him as well.
Was that the first time then you'd seen Panto with him in it?
It would have been, yeah. And I wondered, why is this man dressed wearing a dress? Why is he standing there? And in the old days you could smoke in the buildings, so he'd be walking up and down the corridor with a cigarette, and I go, what's he doing? And I look back now and I go, it's unbelievable, but he was so funny. And also I used to go to the Pavilion in Glasgow, all the Kings.
The world's longest closing door.
I know. Do you know what that door would be a great sound effect for Panto? You'd record that, honestly. Yeah. Where was it there? What was I saying?
You were saying about the Glasgow
I used to
Pavilion.
I used to go to Pavilion with the Boys Brigade, and then I would go to the Kings as well with the Boys Brigade. So we sort of went to both, and I enjoyed the Pantos as a kid then as well. But the first Dame I ever seen, I think, was Davidson. Yeah, and he was great.
Was it quite rowdy then, shall I say, when it was the Boys Brigade?
It was rowdy, and that was like, I felt like an old man, even at 10-year-old, whatever, because I'd be going, shut up, I want to hear them, So I knew I wanted to be in the theatre. I knew it then, or act in any sort of way, but I knew, because everybody would jump up and down, and I'd be, no, I want to hear this. I want to enjoy it. So I was no wonder I played Baron at 37 if I was acting like at 10. But you say I was at that age, 37, playing Baron, which was funny because Cinderella was 34. So it was a 3-year gap. I was her dad. It was ridiculous. But it worked well. But I was hoping to be there for a while in the Kings, for a few years at least, But that was the last year of First Family, my first year in the Kings, and that was my last time there at the moment. So I had to move on, and I moved to Motherwell to be in the Panto there.
Different audience then?
Well, I always think a Glasgow audience is a Glasgow audience. They're there to see it, they're there to enjoy it, and if they hear, like Eric writes and like most writers do, is they love to hear local places mentioned, which get a cheer or you won't get a cheer. But going to Motherwell, it's a smaller audience. You've got the King's Theatre with 1,800, and then you're going to a 500 audience, which again, but it was good, intimate, and I played the King. So I was playing a dad again. I was playing the old man again. And then the following year they contacted me and asked me to be Widow Twanky in Aladdin, which I loved immensely.
How did you prepare for that then?
Well, I walked about the streets for a few weeks in a dress, and
The one you've got on now?
the one you noticed, and
I didn't want to say.
no, but you did. No, I am joking. How to prepare for Widow Twanky? I thought back to, again, David as when the man I looked up to his name as a kid, and I just took a few wee things from him. But again, I just wanted to be me. I don't like the get on a stage and I mean I do put a wee old woman's voice on, but it's I just like to be myself because I get a lot more comedy out of that being myself. And folk they're not under any illusion. They know you're a man in a dress, you know. So it's not as if you're trying to fool anyone. Trying to think other ways I prepared for it.
Some people say they kind of base it on aunties or their mums.
Well, this is the thing. The funny, yeah. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you're helping me here. Yeah, as Eric Morecambe say, you're working me with your foot. No, basically, I sent a picture of myself as Widow Twanky to my cousin. She went, "Oh, that's my Auntie Betty," who was my gran. And there was a lot, of my gran. I was brought up with my gran, my mum, my Aunt Hilda. Yeah, I was brought up with them all. Strong women. So that's basically, I think, where I got Widow Twanky from, was watching them when I was younger. And of course, when, as I said earlier, when I worked in a bingo hall for years as a caller, bingo caller, and you would hear all the old women. The old women would talk, and they were just so funny, and they didn't know it. So I took a lot from that. Especially, I've got a catchphrase now here. It used to be "leave it," believe it hen. If somebody was too loud, leave it hen. But then it changed now to, I'll say it, Liz, "we'll not talk about it" is how it's meant to sound. But here in Scotland, it's "we'll not talk about it." Because the old women used to come into the bingo and say, they would tell a big bit of gossip to all the other old women and then finish by saying, "but we'll not talk about it." As if they've told them. I used to think it was so ironic and just it's a funny line. So people picked up on it and it started becoming a catchphrase.
Have you been a bit of a note taker then?
Well, do you know what? I don't sit and write them down or anything. I just remember a lot. I've got a good memory for people, and I love to people watch. That way you sit there and somebody at another table, if you're in a restaurant, starts an argument or something, but they're trying to keep it quiet. I love to sit and just, turn my head to the side, and someone could be telling me something really serious. My friend could be telling me a serious story. I didn't hear it because I'm too busy listening to the other people and watching how they're reacting. But again, I think all actors have to watch people and take a lot from other people. I don't mean steal things from people, and just take wee bits and pieces and make it your own. The director, I must say, the director of Motherwell, Bev Berry, he basically said, I reminded him of the old-fashioned dame, and he said, very like Les Dawson. That's what he enjoyed about me playing Widow Twanky, which again a great compliment from another director, because they are my heroes, are the old-fashioned comedians.
Have you seen Eric play Dame?
I've seen Eric play Dame only on video. I haven't, or it's not video anymore, is it? DVD, and he's a fantastic Dame. He's just, I think, he's up there. He's one of the best. And it's his mannerisms and even his catchphrase, "thank you," however he says it. I would never try and compete with Eric Potts, but he's just amazing, and again an amazing friend to have.
How did that friendship start then between you both?
We started talking, and I asked to go for a coffee, and we're talking about it for ages, going for a coffee, and then we eventually met. And Eric, he'll hate me talking about this, but Eric recently lost quite a lot of weight. But at the time, he had bought me a latte and bought himself one and sat down and hit the table with his belly and then just dropped my latte, first meeting, and he said, "Oh, I forgot I had that." Which...
Sorry, Eric.
I know, sorry, I don't mean it. Now, you can edit this out if you want.
Nope.
But he did, and it was what was meant to be. What was meant to be maybe half hour, if that meeting turned into a 2.5 hour meeting. We sat and spoke, and that was it. And we've kept in contact ever since.
Were you a funny child then?
Was I a funny child?
You said a lot about when you were introduced quite early to comedy.
Yeah.
And
when I was the funniest thing, was my cousin reminded me of this recently. She said, any party we would have, you would go up and put on my granny's dress and come in with a lipstick over your face and just come in and kid on you were an old woman. So I would do that, yeah, and I would always, to avoid bullies at school, I would use the comedy. I would always crack a joke. In class, I would crack a joke, but, never say I did, and someone else get into trouble for it, not me.
Did it work, though?
It worked, yeah. It kept folk away from annoying me. It gave me a lot of people, actually. Like, the biggest thing I can say here, I actually was asked by the head teacher of the school to go up and do a reading at Easter. And again, because he knew I'd done the school shows, I'd done all the school shows, Calamity Jane, the lot. But he asked me to go up and do a reading for Easter, and I read from the Bible. I was nervous because it was in front of my year, and I did that. And when I came off, the biggest bully stood up and clapped, and everybody else followed. And I just thought, again, I've never noticed until I've had this interview all these boosts I've had from people, where they're basically giving you what's the word I'm looking for? They're basically giving you
like a reassurance?
A reassurance, or the thumbs up, you're doing something right. So, yeah.
With the highs then, after Panto, there's a phenomenon that a lot of people have told me about, the Panto blues. What was it like last year then when you weren't performing? Right,
last year, oh my goodness, last year was the first time I haven't either been writing for a panto or played music for a panto or even acted, which is my main job. And I would have had, I felt lost, to be honest. I felt lost, but for some reason, so many people invited me to their pantos. So I wasn't out the loop completely. I was, people were, there's a couple of tickets, come and see the show, and and then 2 weeks later I'd go and see another show. So I said, what was it, 6 pantos over Christmas. Me and my friend went, and that made it bearable. I think if I was, because that's 20 years, working some way within a show, a Christmas panto, it really, it was weird, yeah. And I'm hoping this year to get somewhere this year. Still looking at the moment.
Well, you never know who's listening.
Well, you're right. And if you are listening, yes, it's a radio broadcast. If you're looking for someone to play Dame or a King or even a Baron, this is an advertisement. Please do get in contact.
Yes,
Bing
please
bong.
get in contact. What's it like, though, when it's coming towards the end of the run, and everybody's getting a little bit tired?
Well, see, I'm one of these people. I go into work, right? I go in, I have a coffee, I go into my dressing room or a shared dressing room, whatever we've got, and I go in and I'll just try and keep everybody up. There's no point in I know we're all tired, but for some reason I don't feel it until I've finished. It's like 2 weeks later and you can't move your leg, you're trying to get out your bed. But when you're doing 107 shows, I was doing in Motherwell for 2 years, 107 shows a year. I don't know where the energy came from, but you got it. But going in, and as people are getting tired, I try and just keep the morale up, keep people laughing, try and understand when they don't want to laugh. There's times, again, it's like reading people. Other actors, you just need to read them and see, if you can help them if they're getting tired. But I don't understand. I just can't understand it because I don't get so tired myself. Which is ridiculous because I'm not exactly skinny, or thin, But no, I think everyone gets tired of it. But at the same time, I go, this is work, and I'm enjoying my work. That's sort of the way I look at it as well. I'm enjoying my work. A lot of folk don't go to work and enjoy it the way I do.
You've appeared in lots of TV comedies as well. What do you prefer? Do you prefer a live audience or the TV work?
Right, I love both. I really love both. I love the fact you can go in and record a comedy, like, as I say, for example, Still Game. I played a housing officer in Still Game. And I'm in it a couple of times, through the whole run. Like the very first episode ever, they put me in. They put me in, right in the middle. Again, they got the housing man back. And then, as a wee sort of tie-up, they put me in the very last episode, just as someone to walk by, like a wee Easter egg. And I love that. And I love the fact if you make a mistake, you can go back and film that bit again. But I also love or prefer the live audience share, because you're out there and you just need to fight through it. If you make a mistake, you need to go on with it. I enjoy that. I remember one time, one of the Pantos in Motherwell, as the king, I'm standing there and there's a fairy on the stage, and I'm waiting on the baddie coming, and he didn't appear. He's supposed to go on first, speak to the fairy, then go off. And nope, so she stood there waving her wand, God love her. Young 18-year-old girl, God love her. And I just came on and said, what's happened to you? Has somebody not come on? It was just, I let the audience know, because if you make them feel they're part of the joke, they love that even more. The audience, it's like, let's have a laugh.
And you can't do that in a serious
Oh, you can't do that in a serious world, no. I don't know why I put this voice on, but no, you can't. You can't do that when you're doing TV. But again, I go into every job with 100%. I totally go in there going, people have paid money, especially in the theatre, to enjoy themselves, and if I can make them forget their worries for two hours, I've done something. I've done something right, I think, and that's what I come off stage feeling. They've laughed. They may have come in a bad mood, but let's hope they've left in a good mood.
You said earlier about you've even done Crime Watch.
Oh, yeah, that was.
Have you ever thought about serious acting?
Well, I've done serious acting before. I've been a couple of ones on Amazon Prime at the moment. Whatever Happened to Harry Fish, and it's I play a serious role in that. I've played serious roles in a lot of stage productions. Just a lot of folk, don't get to see me doing it on TV as much, which would be good. So if you work for Coronation Street, yes, another advert, you want me, or EastEnders, or Emmerdale.
It's one big advert today, isn't it? What about baddie then? Would you love to one day tackle a baddie?
I'd love to. Well, I've tackled many baddies, I'll tell you, when I've been on that stage, especially Widow Twanky. No, playing a baddie, I would totally play a baddie. I would go for it. I'd like to try something different sometimes, yeah. There's no point in always... Well, there is a point in always being a comic, but it's good to play, get a shot of everything, I think. But I think I'm a bit old to be Aladdin, though. I think... You could
still get away with it.
I don't think so.
There's performers in their 60s still playing buttons.
Oh, well, fair enough. I'm glad you mentioned that. Is that another advert?
Could be. Another box to tick. Have you ever played buttons at all? Or?
I've never played buttons, no. Anything I've ever done, I must be typecast. Because even in the church plays when I was a kid, it was an ugly sister. It was, again, the mother. It was the dad. I've always played the older person for some reason. But as you said there, yeah, I'd love to do baddie, going back to that. There is, I've got a lot of time for the actors who do, come out there and be the evil guy, or evil girl, evil woman. Because when they come down, it must be crushing to come down to boos from an audience, as opposed to, getting a big round of applause. And they take it so well.
It's a different kind of performance, though, as well, isn't it? Different discipline.
Well, it is, yeah, to play the baddie.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. As I say, there's people, when I've worked before in different theatres, have said, I couldn't do that. I couldn't dress a woman. I couldn't go in there and play a dame. Or I've had people, I've turned around as well and said to them, I don't know if I could take that crush, as I've just mentioned about, coming down for your bow at the end. And I think everybody just does their own thing. And yeah, it is a different discipline, you're right.
Have you ever played Panto then to a southern audience?
To a southern audience?
Or south of the border, shall I say?
No, I understand, but I haven't yet. I would love to. The fun thing was, a lot of friends in the pantomime 2 years ago, when I was Widow Twanky, were from south of the border, and they came up and from England to see their friends in the Panto, and their friends came up to see them in the Panto, and they went away and said, that was a great show, but I didn't understand Widow Twanky. But again, people need to understand, you need to adapt. You need to be... People in Motherwell weren't expecting, an English Widow Twanky to come on, I don't think.
No, I don't think they'd take too well.
No, they just wanted this wee woman to come on, and go, oh, son, you nearly hit your head there. Oh, what, carry on. So that's where we come on and do that, dame.
How did you come up with the voice then for your Widow Twanky? Because it's a very beautiful little voice, to be fair.
Well, basically, at first, obviously, rehearsals, I was being me, just to get the lines right. And then once the frock's on and the wig's on, just this wee woman, as soon as you hear that audience, this wee old woman inside me comes out. And, again, it's that sort of thing where I came on in Aladdin, I was pulled on in one of those carts, and the dancers would pull me on and push the boy's bottom, and he would fall into the side of the stage, and then the other dancer, he was to sit on the seat, and there was no dialogue there, so I just come out with, oh son, you nearly hit your head there, oh, my goodness. And then it would change to, and you sit there and keep that seat warm for me, and that was it. It just became the old woman from the bingo, I think.
And that was it?
That was it. Just something came out. A noise came out of my voice.
How important then was the youth theatre to you?
Well, the youth theatre, it meant everything to me, because without the youth theatre, I don't know where I'd be just now, because as a kid, as I said earlier, I was scared of my own shadow, never wanted to mingle with people. And yeah, it made me talk to people, by going to youth theatre. I made good friends there. I've still friends today. People that went on to do a lot of good things. We had, we had David Snedden, who won Fame Academy, now writes songs for people. He's just fantastic. He was a great friend. James McAvoy, Hollywood actor, he was there at the youth theatre as well. James McArdle, he's a fantastic young actor. When I played the music for he was there. There's just so many great talents came out of this youth theatre. But for me, it meant the world. Every time I was going, it wasn't a chore. It was, I can't wait to go. Where the school was a chore, So that's what I knew. I wanted to act, because I enjoyed what I did.
What kind of things were you doing?
Well, as I said, I started off there as a kid, went through it, acting, doing Bugsy Malone, playing Fat Sam, which didn't do me any favours, going back to school saying I'm Fat Sam, and then folks shouting, "Oh, there's Fatty Sam coming," you know. But again, that was one of my favourite shows, a great show called I Was a Teenage Jekyll and Hyde, which again, all these kind of shows were brilliant, and I played two parts in that. First half I was the janitor, and the second half I was the detective that came and solved the case and what happened. And yeah, we done again tours. We done big shows in the SECC in Glasgow for all the kids to come from the schools, and that one was about drugs, the Y Factor it was called, and people, tens of thousands of kids, you know, would come to see this show, and singers would come and perform at it. It was amazing.
So what's your involvement now then with the youth theatre?
Well, the youth theatre, I'm not as involved as I used to be, but I was one of the first members, as I say, back in 1988, and I know, I feel old. But yeah, 1988, and now, you know, as I say, obviously I'm a founding member, so I go back, and they've got a new project going underway, which is very exciting. Their own theatre, called The Exchange, Young People's Theatre, and that'll be in Paisley. And I was just away last night, actually seeing the building, and turns out it was an old theatre years ago, and it was turned into a dance hall that I used to go to when I was back in the day when I was in my 19s and 20s, and yeah. So I went to see the building last night. It's beautiful. It's going to be beautiful, the designs, and I just wish them well. I've always been involved in some way. It's just if it's music or if it's acting in shows, yeah, that's really it with that the theatre company. But I owe a lot to the theatre company, as I said, from being young, because I wouldn't have, I don't know what I'd have done. You know, I really can't imagine my life as, and I don't want this to sound rude, but I can't imagine myself as a plumber. You know, I just wouldn't. I don't see it.
Did you have a backup at all, or
sorry?
Did you have a backup?
I did have a backup. No, I basically. Well, I've always had the music there as well. You know, so if the acting, it's either been acting or music. So I've always. But again, I worked in bingo. I always thought, well, that'll be me. I'll go back to the bingo. And the funny thing is, I was asked to go back as a bingo caller.
Have you ever tried stand up then?
Stand up, yes. I was. I'm the biggest fan of Morecambe and Wise. I've always been. And years ago, I was put together with a friend of mine, and we were all in our teens. We were put in a double act, and basically we were put together, and both of us weren't the best of friends, put it that way. And we would work together for a week. We'd improvise a show all week and then put a show on to an audience on the Friday night. This was during the summer holidays. It was called Rock Shop, and it was just amazing time for us, you know, me as a kid. And me and this guy get put together, and this double act from 1 week, because he said, I only need to work with him for 1 week. Ended up the next week we were the same characters, Roy and Jack. We were called Roy and Jack. Then it was the next week, and then we get our own show. We were given our own show in the Arts Centre in Paisley. Then we would be invited to people's ruby weddings and things like that. But then my friend in the double act, he decided that, you know, it wasn't for him to be an entertainer. Very, very good straight man. He really was. He'd have to be with me there, you know what I mean? Because I would just talk, and he'd have to sort me out right enough. And I could tell by his eyes, you know, right, stop there. And he then, you know, we went for an audition. Well, I thought we were going for the audition for that's when I got Rabsy Nesbitt. We went for an open audition, and the writer of Rabsy was there, and we auditioned, and the BBC comedy unit at the time said we were not looking for a double act. And my friend turned around and told them, actually, I'm not here for me, I'm actually here for him. So it was like, to me, it was like a wee sacrifice, and that he made, and I was the one that got the, about a year later, I got cast in the Rapsy Nesbitt episode, and then 4 years later into this programme called, they said, we're only doing one episode only. It was a pilot called Still Game, and that's where that started. So I just felt, I've done stand-up. I preferred it in the double act, but I went out there to do it myself, and you miss your friend next to you. So in a way, I know how Ernie felt when Eric died. It was like, that person's not there. Not that my friend's dead, by the way. I just thought I'd point that out.
Scottish comedy, though, so different to British comedy. Or English comedy, sorry.
Oh, that's an edit there.
I'm
only kidding. So you can do it again. Do you want to do it again? Yes, it is in ways, but I was going to turn this interview around and ask you, in what way do you see it different?
It's more harsh, but it's got a lot more love to it. I see Jack and Victor as, and shoot me down, some people, they might not like me saying this, but it's like a heterosexual love story.
Oh, right.
That's how I see it, as two men who are more than friends, who absolutely love each other to bits.
Yeah.
And there's nothing sexual there. Well,
no.
There was one episode where it was pertained to, but
there was two, yeah.
In the same way as well with the barman, they'll be very rude to him, but nobody would ever be horrible to him.
Yeah, because they would stand up for him,
And in the same way, the Rabsy Nesbitt, there's so much
anger.
Yeah. But there's a warmth to it. And I've never kind of got that with English comedy.
Well, I believe, I do believe here, all over Britain it's fantastic, but I know in Scotland I get where you're coming from. In Scotland, people don't want people to lose, if that makes sense. They want them to. Everyone's got someone's back. Everyone's there to help. I think that's what the comedy here is like. It's like they'll watch you, and you could die on that stage, but sometimes you don't. The audiences enjoy that as well.
So this double act then, before kind of the distancing apart, shall I say?
Yeah.
Anything else that you did?
Well, to be honest, we actually did a pantomime. We did a pantomime in a place called Govan in Glasgow, and but the thing was, when we turned up to, we'd done a cabaret night is what happened, and the guy there had asked us to come and be in this panto he had written. So he gave us a script, and we took it, and he said you can change bits for yourself. And it wasn't your traditional pantomime. It was set in a pub. It was it was set in a pub in Govan, and it was quite humorous. But they asked us, could we could write our own bits in it. He's wrote something for us, but if we don't like it, we can change it. So we looked, and we were in our double act, as most double acts have. You've got the straight guy who's shouting at the other one. So, but I was playing the dame then as well. I was playing the barmaid, the dame, who was his mother, and we sat and we can't have that skin out like that. We can't, because I'm mean to you, and if I'm meant to be the love guy, the lead, how can I be rude to my mother? So we used to go to the airport, Glasgow airport, every night because it was opened, and just sit and write and write and write. And we went, you know what? It was so easy all along. You act as Dame at the start of the show, and as soon as everybody leaves that pub, he would come up and he took a pin and would burst your chest, and he went, right, Roy, we need to keep this pub going. And so we'd made up these characters, still Roy and Jack, but in a pantomime, and they were trying to keep the place open, so they thought they needed a buxom barmaid, and this is why he played the mother. So it got us out of the, do you know what I mean? It got us out of that, him shouting at me, so I wasn't his mother, I was Roy all along. So that I thought was brilliant, how we eventually all came together, and friends of ours came in and saw it, and they all thought it was good. But that was, oh God, I must have been, I'd say I was 18, something like that at the time. We were young, double act, 18 or 19, but I enjoyed doing it. Yeah.
Have times changed much then with comedy, do you think?
Yeah, I think comedy has changed a lot. I mean, this is why I love Panto so much, is because I don't think it changes as much in pantomime, especially, like, as I said, if I'm doing dame, I play a dame of, a wee old woman, as I said, and but she'll fight for her sons. If it's Aladdin, for example, she'll fight for the boys, and she'll, she'll look after them, and but with the comedy, Les Dawson did that comedy, all the other, Roy Barrack, they'd all, a lot of people doing these comedy characters. Like, for example, being Dame, when I'm playing Widow Twankey, she's this woman who's going to look after her 2 kids, and she's brought them up by herself, and she's going to be there, but the comedy there's always been there with Les Dawson, John Inman, and obviously in England up here we had Ricky Fulton, as I said earlier, Stanley Baxter. Just these characters don't change much, and I don't think they ever should change much. I think that comedy should always be like that, and be the centre. I always believe that the dame is right at the middle of the pantomime, the one who can either raise the bar, like make it frantic, or they can level it off, pull it back if it's getting too much, and they've got a bit of control, the dame, because
they can sort of have the reins.
Yes, in a way, yeah. It's like, although you've got a lovely script here, there's times I've just walked off stage if someone's not I'm going to get one of the kids on, get them to dance. I'm not doing this, I'm not working for this. And I would just walk off and it would go quiet. I'd have to go, is he for real? And then I'd just pop my head round, and they would laugh, and it would get them all back. And you've got that freedom. I love as Dame, you've got freedom to come out with certain lines that are not even there, especially when you're doing an opening part, when I was saying, hello, my name's Earl Twanky. Sorry, sir, no, I did say Twanky. You're just making up your own jokes, that kind of thing. It was all those kind of jokes that I love, that MD could. There's not one person made a noise. I've just done it that night because I thought it's a good audience.
Do you like a matinee with all the children in it?
Well, that's the difference. I love the matinees for the baddie. I love the matinees for the Aladdins, and the Cinderellas, and they're amazing. For the dame, the matinee is so different. It's just like, for the matinees, I'll go on, I'll do the script, and I'll walk off. There's no, that's the only bit where you have to then go, I need to stick to this, because it's like the kids are just waiting to see Cinderella kiss the prince, or the way it used to be, and or they're waiting on Aladdin meeting Jasmine, or whatever she's called in the show. I think, yeah, they're all wanting that, and they're wanting the baddie to come out, and so they can boo him and make as much noise as they can. But it's when they're with their grannies at night, and the granny's going, you sit down, son, I want to hear this, the way I used to do it when I was 10-year-old, you see. So, the matinees, although I still love what I do, and I still love doing it, I prefer the evening shows, yeah.
And what's the reaction like then with the sort of the more mature ladies?
What do you mean by that? But the older women.
The older women, yes.
The older women, oh, they're something else. They actually could write you a script sitting there. I actually watch them. I feel like paying them money for a ticket. because they just and some of them will shout back at you, you know, which I think's
Do they?
amazing. Yeah, I love it because you'll get out there and you'll say something. Oh, I lost my man a few years ago, and the next minute this mum go, oh, so did I, and she'll not even say so did I, hen. It's like, so did I, son. I might be widow twanky, you know, so I just tell them that. I might be a woman, you know, so I enjoy that.
Do you like the banter then with the audience when you do get like things that go wrong or things where somebody may say something like that?
I think, of course I do. It's what I'm there for if I'm playing, especially when you're playing Dame. Even playing King, I would still do the same. You know, you're there to... as I said earlier, they're there to enjoy themselves. So if they want to shout up at me, and you know, as long as I've got a quick answer, it's good or fair enough. But I do enjoy it. It's the main thing I love about Panto is that, as I said earlier, the freedom to just have an argument with somebody in the audience, but it's not a real argument. You know what I mean? You're actually having a kiddling joke with it. They know they're. Everyone, half the time I feel like taking them up on the stage and going, you do it. Do you know what I mean? you do it.
You've got that freedom though, haven't you? The fourth wall's down.
It's just a way. That's a way. That's the best thing. There's nothing better than something going wrong. It's like, right, for example, someone walked by the stage 2 years ago when I was doing Widow Twanky, and I was doing my opening, and they were bent over. Now, bent over trying to, as if... I said, it's all right, hen, they can see you. You know, you can stand up, you know, that's all right. Did you see her? And you point it out, and they had a good laugh, and especially the teachers as well. And in the matinees, as you said earlier, the teachers have a good laugh. But at the same time, I think they go, oh, I wish, again, these kids would be quiet to hear this. Some of the teachers do come back right enough, you know, with their families.
What is it about pantomime, do you think, that you love so much?
I just think, again, it's going out there. Are you talking about me performing in it or just in general?
In general. In
general, I just love the fact you go to something and you know for a fact you're going to have a good time, you're going to have a laugh, and you walk out at the end with a smile on your face. And as I said earlier, it's the same thing when you're performing. If you can get out there and make the people laugh and make them enjoy themselves. There was, just to say, I need to point this out, it was one of these things that happens. You know how you can get the fake gags, you know? Well, there was one gag it was in a panto once that I did, and I was the king actually, and at the end I get over the whole run, because it was a long run in Motherwell. It was 500 custard pies in my face. So 500 A's in my face. And thank goodness I put on another pair of glasses, a replica pair, because one night I got hit so hard, one of my lenses came out. So when the lenses came out and was stuck in the pie, and I just had a laugh about it, as in, you broke my glass, and well, here in Scotland, but you broke my glasses, you know. And everybody's looking at me, you know, and the audience are all in hysterics by this point. Then the other comedian would come up, and he would take the lens, and he would go, I could see Hamilton through that, you know, as if he could see such a distance away. And the dame would turn round and he went, and I went, did you call me Andy? You know, just that all happened at once, and we all decided, you know, if it's a good audience, why don't... So I would just pop the lens now and again, because it was one of those gags that I just thought, it just works, you know, but you need that audience.
Organic as well.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, my favourite night of pantomime, I was going to say this earlier, is the Friday night and Saturday night, because you know people are going out to have a drink, and if you're able to have a laugh with them, you know, and if they're enjoying it, it is rowdy, but it's fun. It's not much fun when what do you call it, Aladdin singing, you know, the most loveliest song to Jasmine, you know, and they're all shouting, oh, son, that's my man used to sing that to me, you know. That's not great, but for a dame it is, or for playing king, baron, whatever.
What's your singing voice like then?
Well, I've always sang. I always thought I was absolute rubbish at singing, but actually it's not. I'm all right. I remember we done If I Were Not Upon the Stage in the Kings. I remember one of the dancers coming up to me and saying, are you a singer? And I thought he was going to turn around and say, if I said no, which I did say, I thought he would turn around and say, no, I didn't think you were. But he actually went, no, you sound really good as a singer. I actually was surprised. And I was like, thank you. That was good of you. Thank you, that was great. So that, another wee boost, you see. But my singing voice is there. Like, I'll tell you, that was one of the highlights when I was playing Widow Twanky and Aladdin was Act 2 opening, and it was me. Widow Twanky turns round and she's in the laundry and she sings Mr. Woo, the song, but it's George Formby sang it. But as I said earlier, my favourite comedians are Morecambe and Wise. I'm singing this song about, the laundry, and each side of me on the stage I've got 6 dancers in tap shoes wearing naval suits, dancing and tap dancing while I'm singing, and you can't get as close to Morecambe as it was the closest thing to Morecambe and Wise I've ever done, except from the double act. It was amazing to be on stage with these are people that I forgot a lot, and they shouldn't be, of the talented dancers that they put so much into the show and they make it fantastic as well. But just doing that one number for me was great. And then at the end of it, obviously I would stop and I'd have a joke with the audience saying, I've got a stitch, I'm tired. I don't know how they can tap dance like that, and you would just. It was fun, and we had 3D in that panto as well. And there was a 3D sort of graveyard scene, and so after I'd finished the dance during the day, all the kids would have their 3D glasses on, and even at night for the first few weeks they would wear their 3D glasses. And I would just say, I just thought I'd say, you're wearing your 3D glasses. I am real. I am here, just so you know. But it was. Highlight, I think, of Panto for me ever was singing the song Mr. Woo, and having tap dancers on stage with me. It was amazing. I'm sitting here chuffed just the thought of it,
What are the moves like then?
Oh, what, the tap dancing?
Yeah,
mine?
moves.
I can move. Oh, yes. Yes. That's why at the end of the run I've got a sore back, a sore leg. No, I'm all right when it comes to the old.
You're okay with the old?
No, I'm lying. I'm just saying this to get a job. No, I can do it. I do it. I'm doing what I'm told. Put it that way. If I'm told to dance, I'll dance. But I'm not. I do the daddy dancing.
Yes.
That the old. Let's have a laugh.
Well, it's a comic role, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
So you can't be a good dancer as a comic.
No, well, thank you. That was nice of you to say. And I'm glad he's here. I was talking about boosts earlier. I haven't been put down. It's all right. I'll go over it.
You said then about the slosh as well. Do you love a bit of slosh?
Oh, the slosh scene?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. I do love it. But, again, I fail. I fail doing Widow Twanky. Because obviously the sort of pouring the cup into the next cup, the bigger cup over the head, all this. I love that. The audience love it. I don't think the stage managers like it very much.
They do it less and less now.
Yeah, but it's
old health and
I
safety.
think but health and safety. I just think there's so much that gets taken away from pantomime that because of health and safety, it's just that's in the fabric of the pantomime, but there's a wee thread getting taken away at a time, which is a shame. That was quite poetic, I thought, the way I put that across.
Have you ever flown?
I've never put my weight. Listen, I lost 2.5 stone playing Widow Twanky. No wonder with 41 stairs to go up and then 107 or 109 shows. Oh, but no, I've never flown. I had this idea because Mary Poppins 2 was just come out 2 years ago when we were doing, Aladdin. And Aladdin flew and all that, and I just thought I would love to come across the back as what Mary Poppins, just go right across across the stage, and that was it. But obviously, I wasn't to fly.
Anything you'd still like to do then in Panto?
I'm up for anything. I'll be honest. Except from I would hate to work backstage because again they put so much hard work in. Although I'm putting hard work in, I'm meaning they put hard work in, and half the time I go, I don't know how you do it. But in saying that, they say the same to us. They don't know how you get there in front of the audience. Never mind us being behind stage. But I think I want to do more Dame, more King, more Bat. I just want to keep going with it for as long as I can.
What about writing?
Writing, well, as I said, when I'm doing my opening speech, I've got a script there, but I sit and I will come up with my own jokes if if need be, especially for an adult or the adult audience at night, who'll have a laugh at them. But and I don't mean rude jokes because it's one thing I've learned since I was a kid. I've always enjoyed as I say, here in Scotland with Francie and Josie, and also Morecambe and Wise. With never heard a swear word. You never hear a swear word, and I don't think you need it. Not that you're going to ever swear in a panto anyway, but that's my kind of comedy. But I just like to keep going with it.
We said then about you possibly playing a baddie. Do you think it's important to be comical and bad at the same time?
Well, I think if you understand comedy, you can understand tragedy. Put it that way. I've always been taught that. Way back when I was young, again, I was taught told by my drama teacher, David, that I had the comedy, so I definitely have the tragedy. I'm able to do the serious part, and I believe that with all actors, if you can do the comedy, you can do the tragedy. Honestly, it's been a mantra. It's something that goes through my head quite a lot, and I would definitely love to do baddie at some point before I retire.
You've got years ahead of you, though, haven't you? Do you think?
Let's hope.
Let's check the pulse.
I think so.
No, do you think the more comedic a person is, the better they can play evil?
Well, there's two ways. Yes, I'll answer yes to that, definitely, right? But I also think if someone's funny and the people know them as being funny and they see them as being a baddie, they come across more. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It makes them... They're so used to them being the fun person. Oh, they'll make folk laugh, but when they're evil, it seems to make it, magnify it, because they're expecting this happy-go-lucky person, but next minute, here's Mr. Baddie. Yeah, I really think so.
Well, this leads me on to my last question that everybody gets.
Oh.
Your dream pantomime. You can be in it, you can be sitting in the stalls watching it, you can choose the theatre, the production, and the cast can be alive or dead, or a mixture of both.
Oh my goodness. I'm glad I'm sitting down. Right, my dream panto. All right. That's difficult. Give me a second to think about it. Well, I would definitely... Alive or dead? Alive or dead? Well, Ebenezer. Let's go for the King's Theatre and have Aladdin, as I say, and an Ebenezer would be... because his face, I would say, I'll lose a comic, but Ricky Fulton, I can just imagine Ricky Fulton as an Ebenezer, and I think he'd be fantastic at it. Because obviously, been such a great comedian, he'd be great as a baddie, I think, as well. Widow Twanky, I would say me, to be honest, but I'd rather have... I think Eric would do it better. Eric Potts would be great there, and I know he is great at that, so he'd be great as Widow Twanky. I said me there, but what about... See, if I was a lot younger, I would want to be Wishy. I'd love to play Wishy and have a double act there with Eric. That'd be quite a thing. You don't mean it this easy, do you? No, it's definitely Morecambe and Wise as the police. They'd be... but it's only 2 police, isn't there? Well, let's have 4 police, right? We'll have Morecambe and Wise and Ford Kiernan and Greg Hemphill, Jack and Victor from Stillgame. They'd be 4 of them. I think would be fantastic. Who else is left? Jasmine. Jasmine and Aladdin. Oh, do you know what? In fact, we can. I don't care if this is a cop-out or no. But I'll tell you this right now. I've worked with too many good-looking people in the past. I'm not going to offend any of them, so they can all do a night. So, just audition. We'll get them in, and they can all do a night. What do you think of that?
What an answer.
Was that great? It was a good cop-out, wasn't it? I'm good, me. I am brilliant. You'd think I'd been sitting for half an hour thinking about this.
We won't tell them about the edit.
Oh, no. We'll not talk about it.
Well, Alex, thank you so much for taking part in the Panto podcast.
Not at all. It's been a great pleasure. Thank you so much. I hope it makes sense. And we'll just not talk about it.